Good morning, friends. Welcome to another casual garden stroll. A little late this morning. Apologies about that. I am filming this Sunday morning, right before you're going to see this. I just need to sleep in a little bit today. We have 2 sick dogs now. And so there's been a lot of letting dogs outside in the middle of the night and cleaning up messes. It's been a messy week in our house. Anyway, we're here now. And today I want to start with a little bit of viewer mail from the postcard project, which some of this has come in over the past probably 3 weeks or more even. So if you sent something, sorry that it's taken me so long to get to this. I actually had, I think, most of this last week already, and then I just got so excited about showing you the garden, I just completely do this. So we're going to do a little bit of that. There's one correction to throw into this little stroll, and then we'll take a look at what's happening in the garden. If you're new here, hi, my name is Erin. I live and garden in southeastern Wisconsin, zone 5B6A, and we need rain. I feel bad saying that even because I don't know of a single place in the country right now that is like loving life in terms of how the weather's been going. It seems like you're either super dry or you're getting flooded. And having been through both, I actually think being super dry is maybe better because at least you can control the water a little bit. But when you're flooded, like, you can't stop it. So that's my theory on it anyway. Oh, and on these, this is a sort of a weekly thing that I do or try to do every week, where we just walk around the garden and chat like you guys are in the garden, and I tell you what's been happening here. So first one here, this is from Valerie. She says, thought I'd share a little bit about the botanical garden where I volunteer in Auburn, Washington. There are a lot more photos on Facebook if you ever get there. About 30 to 40 minutes south of Seattle. If you're ever in the area and would like a tour, let me know. Love your YouTube channel. It's from Valerie, and she lives in Kent, Washington. Seuss Creek Botanical Garden, pronounced like Dr. Seuss. Oh, and she sent me her card. So if I am over there, I would love to get a tour from you. So here's the brochure with it. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. Opened in July of 2011. Maurice Skagit, it's probably like Skagit Valley. Is it pronounced that way too? You guys, I get that wrong all the time. It's Skagen. And James Daly, creators of the Garden Foundation, welcome the public to their garden. Rain garden, heritage flower garden. There's a garden room named for somebody, a pond garden, long borders, a cedar grove, a ravine garden. Amazing. Looks beautiful. Here's just take a look at that picture of the pond part there. Very nice. All right. So everyone, check that one out if you are looking for a botanical garden near Seattle. Thanks for sending that, Valerie. Okay, next up, this is from Pamela. I think Pamela has written to me before. Oh, okay. Well, this is from Pam Wilson, and she says, this card is to say thank you so much for the YouTube episode about planting poppies in spring instead of fall or winter. Tried several years, all other ways, no luck. Finally, after seeing the episode, I scattered poppy seeds in March on some pretty rocky and crappy soil, and voila, finally at last I have beautiful poppies. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that worked for you. Oh, and this one is actually one I've already read because I save all these cards, you guys, and I have a special place where I put them. I just did move this. This is the nice one from Emily with the Chihuly Gardens, and we did this one a few weeks ago. All right, let's stroll. So fortunately this week, I finally shared a container tour with you. That is something I filmed July 4th. So I can actually show you the containers. Sometimes I don't show you guys these things in these tours because I know there's a video coming on it. So obviously there's been some growing since I showed you some of that. So here's, you can see this guy he got a little dry. Got a little bit behind on some of the container watering. But the purple belt line is doing its thing here and going nuts. I got to get in there and sort of reorganize it a little bit. I think the James Pretenia on this one is shot. The other one it looks great on. But over here, I think it's shot. I think it got too dry. I'll cut it off and see if it comes back. I'm just experimenting with this plant for the first time. Well, I guess I had it a little bit last year. I think I got sample plants last year. I think I really like it. I just haven't quite figured out like what thriving means for that. Okay, let's go this way. Still, guys, it's the sweet peas are still going. Like, don't tell them that that's unusual. But I just cut another huge bouquet yesterday, and there's still like bunches more. I have been doing fortunately I've gotten to the part where I can do some editing in the garden, which is delightful. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So one of the things I been working on, just kind of nipping away at, is putting some shape back into the gnome ginkgo. It grows quite a bit. You can see I haven't like gotten to the top. I always leave these little mohawks on everything because I have to go get a ladder to deal with things. This ginkgo can't really be allowed. First of all, I was always shocked it got this big. This ginkgo cannot be allowed to get any bigger, or else it's not going to fit in this spot, right? So I do this sort of thing where I don't know, I consider this sort of cloud pruning maybe, but I show off some of the structure in there, which is great. And then you get to look once again, you guys, this elf clematis is still like blooming away. It's so damn cute. And then Raguchi, I notice, is blooming, but it's been super dry in there. So here's some Raguchi coming up through the dogwood. I've started editing this bed a bit. This is where I told you, where we had all these poppies. I am saving some for seeds, but I don't need a bajillion seeds, right? So I'm pulling out the stuff that looks really rough. And I'll be honest, as these Shirley poppies stop flowering, they're not nearly as pretty as the bread seed poppy seed heads, which I love. These are not super attractive. And I've been warning you that I got a real issue developing here because there's just holes in this garden. And now that I pull them out, we're really starting to see them. I don't know, maybe I'll run somewhere and try to find something to fill some of those gaps. I don't know, I haven't quite figured out what the plan is, but it is getting a little gappy in there, which I knew going into it that putting all those poppies there, that was the price I was going to pay, and I accepted it. One thing I thought I would show you is what I do with, I'll just show you quickly. I'm not going to leave all of those poppies there, probably. But this is what I do. I want to show you how I make it tolerable to leave these things standing, because the foliage does get super, super ugly. So, basically, this is not like brain surgery here, but I just strip the foliage off them. And it comes off really easy. Although the other day I did like pull my back doing this, which suggests more about my state of fitness or possibly my age, than it does about the challenge of pulling foliage off poppies. Here, let me just do a little bit more stripping so you can kind of see what this guy looks like when I'm done. I do have a dahlia that needs some staking there, I see. And it's pretty easy to just run your hands down them and grab it. Okay, this is a longer it's a little easier when you've got two hands. All right, well, this gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. I will still take more of those off, but see how much nicer that looks? I mean, these are, because the foliage gets really disreputable. So, the bowling ball, I showed you the bowling ball poppy head, which you can see in the distance there, which is so huge, still exists, which is great. Last year, I had a nasty little chipmunk or ground squirrel, that was nipping off all the seed heads. No problem with that this year. I'm sure that's the snakes. Those snakes are trying to prove to me that they have earned their place in this garden. But it's hard for me to accept that. Same thing, you guys, these are all self-sown Nicotiana here. And they're pretty, but this will all get edited. So I'm going to let them do their thing, but I will come in here and, pull these out. I won't even bother deadheading these because it's a little too much here. So I'll just pull those out when I feel like it. That's kind of how I garden, I guess. Let's stroll this way. We can get close to where I'm going to make a correction. This, you can see the ladies' mantle border is really starting to reflush now. I have been trying to keep water on this so that these guys, you know, reflush nicely, but it's looking much better already. I do need to get into that bed and do some weeding. Oh, speaking of weeding, let's talk about nut sedge. So last week I showed you, I'm like, I don't know what this weed is, but it's everywhere. And let me zoom you out because I think you're zoomed in. Yes, you are. You don't need to be zoomed in on me this morning. And then everyone said, well, that's nut sedge, Erin. And two things came to mind. One, I'm certain there's a garden stroll video last year where I asked the exact same question and you guys told me. And I went, oh, nut sedge. Good to know. And then did nothing. So the whole time I've been dealing with nut sedge incorrectly, which is just pulling it. And clearly, like 2 seconds of research on it would have told me that that is not the right thing to do and that digging is the right thing to do because they have these little, what they call nutlets. Who came up with that? Nutlets. Underground, kind of like little bulbous kind of rhizome-y things that you have to dig out. So I've just been making the problem worse for myself, and you guys all tried to tell me last year, and I was like, oh, good. But I didn't realize how much nut sedge I have. So thanks for letting me know. And apparently I'm like late to the nut sedge party, which is not a bad party to be late to. I just am sad that I've joined you in that. All right, let's keep walking. Okay, look, the greenhouse is gone. We took it down yesterday. I have a video on taking it down to kind of walk you guys through that process because that was kind of the big question with that greenhouse was because that greenhouse, that inflatable greenhouse called the Haven, you know, is meant to be a permanent structure. But because of how it's constructed with these inflatable tubes, it absolutely can be semi-permanent. And that's how I'm using it. So, it came down. So it was up for about 3.5 months. This is what the ground looks like underneath it. To be honest, you guys, our lawn is so disreputable that this is not that bad compared. I mean, there's other parts of the lawn that look like this that have not been covered up by a greenhouse. It's funny though, the footprint of it looks so small compared to how much room it felt like was in there. So anyway, there'll be a video coming on that. It unearthed sort of the border here, which is kind of funny. So years ago, I wanted to plant this front edge of this with shrubs. And so I would get all these sample shrubs in the mail and I would just stick them in here. Well, the only things that have ever really survived, I think this is ginger wine 9 bark. It is the only 9 bark in my property. I know that a lot of you guys love 9 bark and I love it. And I probably should have more of it somewhere. It's beautiful. And this is double play doozy spirea. I think it's double play. It's one of the doozies, but I'm pretty sure it's double play doozy. And listen, any shrubs that can survive on this border, which is sandy, very little water, and of course they have to compete with the ostrich ferns, which are the biggest thugs. I mean, you can see, look at how friggin' huge that is. The only thing that keeps the ostrich ferns from taking over the whole yard is the lawnmower. Okay, let's walk over to where I was gonna give you the correction. So, last week I walked by here and I mentioned that, oh, this stachy's needs to get cut back, but I was kind of waiting for it to finish flowering. And then this pulmonaria needs to get cut back. And somebody said, are you sure that's pulmonaria? And then they suggested it might be some other plant. And I looked up that other plant. Oh, look at this little booger. Excuse me, sir. That's not happening. Ugh. Ugh. I hate it when they grab onto your fingers. Oh, there's another one in here. Look at him sticking out there. Oh, such a jerk. Get out. Oh, well, that's the end of that. One of the few dahlias I actually have blooming, by the way, that's Cornell. Anyway, somebody said, are you sure it's not? And they named a different plant. And I said, nope, I'm positive it's pulmonaria. But it did get me thinking, because I'm like, sorry, pointing the camera some other direction. It did get me thinking, because I'm like, well, that is really late for pulmonaria flowers. And then I looked at it yesterday, I go, well, that isn't a pulmonaria flower. But what the hell kind of flower is it? Well, you guys, this is where it doesn't make a lot of sense. This is Stokes aster. This is Stokesia. This is all part, I mean, I've got the tag, I'm flashing you the tag back there. But this is not what the flowers looked like last year. So I don't know if that's just the center of the flower and the rest, and I missed the flowering. I mean, there's a chance that I guess I missed the flowering while I was gone, and that's just what's left. And I also don't remember those flowers ever getting, I don't know, they were never a mess like that last year. So anyway, I replied in the comments to whatever other plant someone suggested it might be, and it wasn't that plant, but it also wasn't pulmonaria. So there's my correction. We have a few more flowers on the lilac squirrel, which is a little crispy. I really have, this is one of the gardens that has not gotten a lot of sprinkler water, and we got to get some over here. So I've just been kind of moving things around to try to keep some amount of water. And sprinklers are never as good as a rain, but at least it's something to keep things from totally drying out. Like, I mean, I would say clearly you can tell that the tricolor beech is crunchy. Well, we looked at a lot of hydrangeas last week, so we don't need to look at them again, except I will say, if you ever want to know about pollinators and Haas's halo, and let's talk about the name of this plant. I used to call it Haas halo, and then I heard some people calling it Haas's halo, and then I posted on Instagram this week and said, I just made a comment, I said, I'm not sure which it is, and someone said, well, I know the person who it's named for, so let me ask her. And it is Haas's halo, but it's Haas apostrophe halo. Now, grammatically speaking, it should be Haas apostrophe S halo, but that doesn't matter because grammar doesn't matter in botanical or in plant names. For instance, Millennium allium is spelled incorrectly because there already was a Millennium plant. So they named it Millennium with the wrong number of N's in it. So anyway, whatever it's registered as is what it is, and it is Haas's halo apostrophe no S. And it is covered in every kind of bee. These little mini bumblebees are so damn cute. Okay. Flowerful, looking great. All of that looking great. The birds have been going absolutely nuts for I think the birds are desperate for water too. I've never seen so many birds in this water bowl before. And there's a whole bunch of baby robins or immature robins. The bunch just flew over who are in here all the time. But this morning there were cedar waxwings in here. I tried to get a video and it didn't work. Some of them actually hang on to, I've got these little metal cups here. Some of them actually hang on to the stems there and then kind of dip in there. Anyway, I think the birds are desperate for water too. I cut back the chive hedge after last week's video because I hadn't done that yet. I'm like, oh, and I love cutting back the chive hedge because it reflushes so pretty. And already, so that was last Sunday, and this is how much they've grown in 1 week. Or I guess that was Saturday, so 8 days. Starting to get some zinnias going here. This is Queenie Lime. Although it was a Queenie Lime mix, so they won't all be Queenie Lime. Don't ask, it's a whole thing. You saw that last week. It still looks great. The Haas's halo hydrangeas over here are the flowers on them are significantly larger than the ones over there. I don't fully know why that is, but let me try to show you the size of these flowers. Someone described it as dinner plate size, and it truly is. Like, I don't know if you can see my hand there. Here, let me see if I can go on top so you can see my hand compared to it. I mean, it's bananas how huge. And actually, even the size of this leaf. Maybe this is just a better spot. I don't know why this one is different. Or those two are biggest. Because I've got the Haas's halo I just showed you. Those 3 or 4 over there, 3 over here, 2 in the front. And these are the biggest of all of them. This guy is opening, finally, which is so friggin' cool. This is a cobra lily. This is a Himalayan, I think it's pronounced Erycema. It's like it's a type of Jack in the Pulpit, basically, or same family as Jack in the Pulpit. This one's called Silver Center, but this stem has been opening over the last week, and it's so, I mean, it looks crazy, right? This is what it looks like. in the, once it opens. You get that pretty silver center, hence the name. I saw that plant originally in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago on a garden bloggers or garden content creators tour. It was in a lot of gardens there, and I loved it. So I have hunted that out, and I bought the bulbs for that from Etsy. Here's another one over here. This one's got like fatter leaves. There's another one there. Hey, there's some nutsedge. The other thing that's in here is some Mojito Nicotiana, and some of this, including these two that I'm looking at right now, I believe are self-sown from last year, because this one is quite white, but the size of the flowers on this Nicotiana are remarkable. Now, no, I haven't noticed any scent on these. That's a problem with, sometimes the prettier the flowers, the less scent there is. This one is got that lime color, that sort of, well, this one's kind of fading. I guess maybe they fade as they grow, or maybe not. I don't know, you guys. We're discovering plants together. But the back side is sort of lime colored, and then the front, I guess it is kind of whitish in the center. Anyway, that's a good Nicotiana if you got room for a tall one. I got the seeds for that from Select Seeds. Then I do have a little apricot, Dalmatian peach, foxglove coming up there. I do want to get over to the vegetable garden. And we have to walk a circuitous route because the fountain is in. But I don't want you guys to see it yet until that episode comes out. So you're just going to have to wait. Here's me trying to have big teasers. Oh, let's look at the front quick. We didn't really look at the front because we kind of took a left turn there. The rate of growth on these castor beans is just crazy. I'm a little mad at myself. I got a little overzealous pruning yesterday, and I pruned out a few of the lower ones, and I wish I hadn't, but I think they'll resprout and they'll fill in that area, but because now there's like a big blank hole there, but oh well. There's the window box, which looks much different than it did in the video this week, because it has grown, and I need to, I just got to tame this guy a little bit. But boy, oh boy, you guys, that's Maui Sunset Mandevilla, and oh God, it's good. I found that at Home Depot. It's part of the sun, I don't know. I forget what the brand name on it is. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, right now, that's kind of a star in the garden. And if I do this sort of hot coral color thing again, maybe next year we'll do a lot more of those. Because think about those. Like, I've done this combination for 2 years in a row. Like, imagine maybe taking out the sun patiens and putting that in instead. I mean, it's really, really, really good. Loving that one. This border is developing over here. Well, first of all, the tiny tough stuff hydrangeas just keep, I mean, you can tell that these are a little past their prime. They're sort of brown on the top, but you know, just all through here, this drift, so good. It is time for me to get in and tame Kinsley's Ghost Honeysuckle in there. In fact, I think we might do a video on the deblobification of some plants in this yard. Oh, there's a little hummingbird over there. Oh, hummingbird fight. They're so aggressive with each other. I think last week I probably showed you this. I'm loving that I added in the meteor shower verbena in the front here. And the front, you know, so I did their erigeron. This is the Santa Barbara daisy or fleabane, which I know is a weed in some places. It is not here. I kind of wish we had weeds this pretty here. And I guess I sort of chickened out because I also put the lobularia in here, and I also put one of those James Britannia in here, or two of them. And maybe I would have been better off just doing one or the other and not all of them. I think, in retrospect, I would have been better off just doing the lobularia, just doing this white night improved lobularia along the whole way. We'll see how we go over summer here, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now. Ooh, this is a dahlia coming up. Who is it? Because that's not Crichton Honey. Who are you? Do you have a name? Oh, cripes, do you not have a name? Are you kidding me? Tell me there's a label. Oh my God. I'm such a terrible gardener with labels. Okay, moving on. I showed you this Cosmic Flare Gomphrena in the container video, and this is what it looks like when it's flowering. That plant is on my list. That's a good plant. And also just like loving the pelargonium back here. Okay, let's stroll this way. I've got to get over to that garden with a sprinkler and a spade, because I see that the Petasites is going rogue again over there. That's sort of what I signed up for when I planted that over there. But I can see it popping back into the garden a little bit more. Okay, sorry, you have to avert your eyes and look this way for a little bit. Okay, let's go over here and show you that I cut the mohawks off all the trees in here. Oh, did you see all the birds fly away from the fountain? I'm telling you, everything with water on it in this garden is just, the birds are going ape for it. So I think they just must be really desperate for some water. Okay, so you can see the apple. If you saw last week's video, I hadn't cut anything at the top. So everything had kind of a mohawk. They look so much, the espaliers look so much prettier when they are properly pruned. So there's the apple, and it goes down all the way down there. I guess I'm just gonna keep its arms extending out, and then I see that I did miss, of all the things to miss, I did miss this bit right here. But this is the Belgian fence. This is made from Royal Raindrops crab apples. Those are there's weeds, so ignore those. But those are the Arctic Rose foxgloves in there, which are quite pretty along there. I've got some tomatoes on. That's like a big, exciting moment. And I've got some cucumbers. I did have a couple of cucumbers this week. Look at that beauty. Look at that beautiful cucumber. I went and got pond plants yesterday. So I did end up, if you saw me on Instagram, I was asking for recommendations for other places to get pond plants because I didn't want to have to drive all the way up to Two Rivers. And the only other place apparently to go is in Delafield, which is actually a longer drive through more traffic than it is for me to go up to Two Rivers. So I went up to Two Rivers. It's Steiny's. They are the nicest people up there. The guy who runs that place, he is just a dear. We had the nicest conversation. So I did get a lotus. Now, he did say, he goes, I don't know how much more blooming it's going to do. And there was a flower on this yesterday, and now it's all done. But, because he said, you know, they live in a greenhouse there. So that's okay. I'm hoping maybe we'll be able to push some more flowers on it. But what I really love on lotus is I love the leaves. So hopefully these leaves will get growing up a little bit. And I picked up, I always like a 4-leaf water clover, which is not a clover, but that's what it's called. I don't know what the botanical name. And then I got one of these, which is a great way to say another plant that I forgot to take a picture of the tag because I don't know the name of it, which is probably too many plants for in here, but I don't care. I like this water. I love playing around with this water feature. I think it's fun. I also picked up a few fish, and I wasn't going to do the fish because it's already pretty late in the year. So, you know, I rehome the fish every year. And I'm like, well, what's the point? Except I did not realize how good of a job the fish do keeping the water clean in here. So I just get a few fish that go in there, and they're hiding now because they just went in there yesterday. So they're really freaked out in their new home, and probably hiding because they're like birds everywhere. Not that I think a robin is gonna eat one of these, but anyway, I think we can say it's very tiny, but this is my first Lysianthus ever. I bought plugs. Unfortunately, they're getting a little, I gotta rein in the sweet peas again, but because they're kind of moving into the Lysianthus area. But I bought a pack of plugs from the retail side of Farmer Bailey's. So I got some Lysianthus. This is where yesterday there was no open sweet peas on. I picked them all, and now here we are already, or I thought I did anyway. There is some, oh here, let me show you this gladiolus. Check out the color on this gladiolus. I mean, that is something. And it works good in this bed with the kind of brighter sweet peas. The garlic is a disaster this year. We've talked about that. The squash is squashing. I just planted a zucchini last week. That's the zucchini in there. And my mom had an extra start. I'm like, I'll take it. There's still time to get some zucchini. But these guys are just going, well, they're doing what they, oh, I thought I saw a huge friggin' zucchini somewhere. Anyway, look at that beautiful flower. I did see something that kind of looked like a patty pan squash in here, and I don't quite recall planting, yeah, this guy. I don't quite recall planting that, but sometimes I get like seeds that from All America selection winners and stuff, and I grow them out and don't really quite realize, but that sure looks like a patty pan right there, kind of, doesn't it? Once I figure out where that plant is coming from, there should be a label. Is this the base of it? Well, I'll dig around in there sometime when you guys aren't looking. Yeah, so there's the vegetable garden. Looking pretty good, although the basil is still pathetic. Needs more water. These are the onions. They look pretty good. I guess they're probably, some of them are maybe ready to harvest. Seems a little early, but they're flopped over, so I don't know. And I think I showed you this container last week, but actually you saw these because I had to reshoot the B-roll for this. So this looked like this last week before I put up that container tour video. So that was actually real time on that one. Movie secrets. Okay, I think, just trying to think if there's anything else that's of real import that we missed last week. I think that is probably it for all the really exciting bits here. Oh, I do need to go through and prune out the hydrangea flowers. I don't particularly love hydrangea flowers on most hydrangeas to begin with, and I certainly don't like it when they look like that. They're just scandalous. Scandalous. Being a little bit dramatic there. I'm just going to end this over here. Carol, who helps me in the garden on occasion, weeded this edge this week, and it makes such a difference to just have this cleared out. It wasn't horrible, but it looks so much nicer. I have to think about, I need to get more ground covers. I don't really want to ever have to do that. The hardy plumbago, seriostigma. I always get that one wrong. Anyway, it is working in some of these places, but I think maybe some ajuga in here. That's just such a good, reliable one, just to fill this in around the shrubs and stuff. Something that can easily get pulled out. I mean, and then this is one of my favorites, of course. This is not, there's a couple of bigger geraniums in there, but there's also like, I think Biocova's in here, maybe Carmina. Great ground covers, but a bunch of Creeping Charlie did get in there, which was a bit of a pain to get out. So, and I do have really nice flowers starting on we have good buds on the Clethra. So that's good, because I don't think we had very good flowering last year, if I recall correctly, but they all look like they're gearing up for really nice flowering there. One other quick sort of clarification was in the video that went up yesterday regarding planting perennials in the new garden area by the fountain. I mentioned that there had been a breach, which the crab apples got nipped by the deer. Yeah, that was how I discovered that they didn't have the electric fence on. And I didn't mention in that video because I didn't know if that video was going to come out before or after the video on the deer fence. So I didn't really address it there, but I did in the comments. A couple of people asked and I answered there, but since a lot of people are asking the same question, I know not everyone has time or interest in reading through all the comments. That's what happened there. And that was how I discovered that I didn't turn the electric fence on. And as it turns out, electric fences don't work if they're not on. Go figure. All right, you guys have a great day in your garden. Thanks for coming along for this little stroll. We'll see you soon.